Hello pals, welcome back to my channel and to the second video in my series of self-love in February and to my second book club video. My first one didn't work out. I just reviewed a book that I had read, but then I started reading the next book I said I would and I just didn't get on with it. So we're just gonna forget about that. We're gonna forgive ourselves and move on. So the book that I have just finished that I'm gonna kind of review for you, that I mentioned on social media that I'm reading, is An Edited Life by Anna Newton. She is someone who I have watched on YouTube for ages and I read her blog. And so when I heard she was coming out with a book, I was very excited. So it's a self-help book, which I absolutely love, and that ties in with the kind of self-love, self-help. I love reading an inspirational book just to kind of motivate me and motivate me in my life and motivate me in my self-love as well. Because this book is all about editing your life, streamlining your life, learning to love your life, and therefore learning to love yourself. So it does very much tie in with the theme of this month. My copy is pretty battered, which I'm very annoyed about because it is a very beautiful book. I love the cover, the quality of the design is absolutely amazing. But yeah, I put it in my bag like a couple of times to read it on the train and it just got battered quite quickly. I don't know if that was just my copy or if it's just a coffee table kind of book rather than an in your bag kind of book. Before we get into this, I'm getting way ahead of myself. Hi, I'm Tally, nice to meet you. If you are just new to my channel, welcome. Grab yourself a cup of tea, which is what I like to do in most videos, is just have a cup of tea and chill. My book club is an online book club where you can read the books at any pace and then you just watch the video at the end when you've read it. So at the end of this video you're going to help me pick my next book that I'm going to be reading. If you want to, you can read it with me at whatever pace, and then once I've finished I'll make a video chatting about it. I'll ask for your thoughts on social media, and once you've finished you can watch the video and then have a chat with people in the comments section about the book, if you liked it or not. So it's like an online community, but with books and via my comments section. So back to the book at hand. I love how this is written. It is written exactly how she writes her blog posts or how she speaks on camera. It's just like a friend chatting to you, the way this is written. It's so down to earth. There's so many Ryan Gosling references and Beyonce references and Friends references. So it's just like having a chat with a mate about all of the stuff that she's talking about. It's like when you go to a friend and you need some life advice. This is what this book is doing. It's giving you the life advice. Also, it doesn't fall into the pit that some self-help books do, which is where they try and fix everything and they've got all the answers, and you're reading this book and you're like, this doesn't resonate with me at all. My life is nothing like that. Your answers are not going to solve my problems. She's so self-aware in this book that her life is quite different to a lot of other people's. I mean, everyone's life is completely different, so she's not going to have all the answers, and the things that she is suggesting aren't going to work for everyone. So I love that she is so self-aware, and she has put in a couple of recommendations, like if you are a parent, maybe try doing it this way, or if you are a student, maybe try doing it this way. If you're living on a lower budget than she is, maybe try this way. So I do love that she gives kind of options for different people, which means that it was very relatable to me, and I lead a completely different lifestyle than she does. So it's structured into very organized sections, which I also absolutely love. So there's a life section, a work section, and a home section, helping you edit those different parts of your life and like streamline them. And then within each section there's like littler sections with little things that you can do within each of the big sections. How many times can I say section in one video? And then at the end of each part, try not to say section, there is a checklist, so you can kind of remind yourself of what you've just read in that section. You don't have to read everything in the same order that it is written, so you can just pick and choose the bits that are going to be most relevant to you, and then it gives you the checklist and like a summary of what's happened so you don't forget things. And at the very end there's action plans of how you can implement everything in the book over like a weekend, a week, a couple of months. So I thought that was very useful as well, and I intend to get the post-it notes out. I might read this again because I feel like I read it once to kind of just to read it and enjoy reading it, but now I need to read it again to like digest it, get the post-it notes out, be annotating all the pages, ticking off the checklists. Although this book is beautiful on the outside, I feel like it's meant to be messy on the inside and covered in post-it notes and pencil scribbles. The bits that I found most useful was the finance section, because I really need to get that on track. If you've been watching my videos for a little while, you know that I'm currently unemployed, so have very little finances. And I actually used to be really good at budgeting and like writing down everything that I'm spending and allocating myself like budget limits for every month. But I have not been doing that since I've been unemployed, which may blow your mind because now is the time that I need to be saving money the most. But I find it really hard to budget when I don't have an income. Like, you have this amount of money, divide it between all of the things that you spend money on. When you don't have that amount of money, it's just like, spend as little as possible in all areas. But I think I could definitely benefit from the tracking the spending. Like, she goes into quite a lot of detail in that section, in those chapters, about tracking your spending and getting to know your spending for a little while before you implement the budgeting. So although it may sound really scary, like making a budget and really adult, she breaks it down for you so that it is a lot easier and a lot more manageable. So I've taken the advice from the book and I'm going to track my spending from now on. So I've set up a pretty spread in my bullet journal, of course, because no point tracking anything unless it's going to be pretty. So I'm going to do this for the month. Well, probably just going to keep doing it, to be fair. I used to do a similar thing in my old bullet journal spreads, but this was when I had like a target to like of what I wanted to spend, and then I'd look at like how much I'd budgeted for the month, how much I'd spent, and then how much I'd saved at the end. So that really worked for me when I had an income, but now I'm just gonna track it. I feel like I've given myself way too small a box for essentials and way too big a box for treats. So might have to do a bit of jiggling around. Also the bit about goal settings, like I feel like I've got goals down and like New Year's resolutions down, but being really realistic with them and more longer term goals, like there's a bit in there about 5-year plans, which absolutely terrify me, but she makes it sound a lot less scary, and now I feel like maybe I could make a 5-year plan, at least in like, to encapsulate some areas of my life, like having a long-term goal that you achieve over 5 years. I don't know, it sounds really scary, but maybe I'm gonna give it a go. I also love the bit about keeping an adult social life and having to make a doodle poll to meet up with all your friends, and I relate to that so hard. Literally, as I was reading this book in a group chat with friends that I have, and we're trying to all meet up, and we're all over the country now that we've left uni, we actually made a doodle poll to find a time that we could meet up, and it's worked, so we've got our date in the diary now. So overall, I really enjoyed it. Now is a great time to read it as well, but it's not like specific to the whole New Year, New Me thing. You could read this at any time of year and kind of use the lessons that it talks about any time of year. It doesn't have to be a January book, is what I'm trying to say in the most rambly way. But I did think it was very kind of relevant to me at the moment, and I think now was the time that I wanted to read it, and it's just come out and I was so happy when it came through the door because I was so looking forward to it, and it's been very kind of motivational and inspiring for me. And it's definitely one of those books that I'm going to be turning to again and again to pick up tips from it. Especially the bit about caring for different clothing items and different fabrics. Like, I didn't find that bit very interesting to read, like just to read through, but I think as I'm shopping and as I'm bringing new pieces of clothing in that I need to wash in a special way, I will refer to this now, and I've got it as like a manual almost. That's more of what it is. It's a manual rather than a book. If you've read this book or if you're currently reading it, let me know in the comments. I'd love to have a chat with you. Which bit resonated with you the most? Which bits did you find the most useful? And if you haven't yet started reading it and you think it might be one that you'd be interested in, don't worry, I haven't given away too many spoilers. I'll link it in the description so you can buy it. So let's choose our next book that we're going to be reading. This is your book club as much as it is mine, so I need your input to decide what book I'm going to be reading next and what book I'm going to be chatting about next. So these are the options. I've kind of narrowed it down. So we've got Fern Cotton's Happy. I've seen this raved about. It's been out for quite a while and I still haven't read it. So this one's on the cards. We've got You Are a Badass at Making Money. In the last book club video that I did, I read You Are a Badass, and I like talked about the book You Are a Badass by Jensen Sarah, the same person. So this is kind of like a sequel and more specific about money, and like I said, I think I need this right now. Or we've got a little non-fiction. This is Disobedience by Naomi Alderman. This is the same author who's done The Power, which kind of had a hype a couple of months ago. I think she wrote this before she wrote The Power actually. This is kind of about sexuality and how this intertwines with like an Orthodox Jewish community, so very interested to read this one as well. And LGBT History Month, this might be a very relevant one. But the decision is yours. I will put a poll up in the corner of this video, in the cards, I forget what corner it is, so you can vote for which book you want to read next. I'll leave it open for a little while, and I'll put polls up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere for people to vote through there as well if you prefer, and then I will bring all of the votes together and decide which is the book we're going to be reading for the next month, or however long it takes me to read the book. There's no time limits in this book club. So I will let you know what book we end up with, and you can get a hold of that and read it at the same time as me. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Please let me know what you think, if you're excited to join this book club, if you were with me for the last book club that kind of failed and now you're excited to try it again. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and I hope you're excited for the rest of February's videos all about self-love. So I will see you in my next one, guys. Bye.